Hello, friends. How are you today? I am so excited to be back here with you talking about the Schumann resonance. The big thing going on in the charts, in my view, at the moment, is this proliferation of green energies in ways that are, I would say, marked, that are a little more than usual, definitely noticeable. And I want to look at that with you. And the other thing I want to do is talk about something I'm going to call the JERICHO effect. And I thank Bards of War for explaining this on one of their awesome videos, on one of his awesome videos. And when I heard it, I was like, yes. So there's an effect like that going on in the chart today, not today, but over the past few days. There's been something building, and I don't know where it's going to, but that's what I want to show you so we can watch it together. We can look at it together and we can see what transpires together. But first, if you could share this video, if it resonates with you, that would be so wonderful. Also, please like and subscribe. There are 2 companion videos that go along with this one I just made called Just the Inspiration. One of them is about change, and the other one is about courage. And the reason I made those videos is because of what I have been seeing in the charts. So the preponderance of green energy in the charts, in my view, calls us to step forward into our true nature. And what does that involve? That involves change, and that involves courage. And so after you're done with this video, I highly recommend that you go check out and listen to the video on change and the video on courage, because they'll be inspiring and encouraging for you. And given what I'm seeing here in the chart, it looks to me like we could all use some encouragement, especially going into the new moon, which is on the 7th in 2 days. So Thursday, October 7th. So once again, we have the green line here that is completely lit up at 20. So we're really paying attention still. And this has been going on for weeks. And it's interesting because what is in this green line has changed. It's been pure green. Then it's been green with black dots. Then it's been green with like full of red dots, like of red dots for me meaning transmutation. So in other words, the energy's elevated from black to red. And why does it do that? I see black as being a reflection of the shadow of something subconscious or something hidden, or something occurring in the world that we don't understand. And then when it changes to red, it's my view that we start to get a little bit of understanding, and we may have an emotional reaction to it. And kind of like here, now you're having it here and a little bit lower. So in today's chart, we're once again back to mostly black, but see this white here? To me, what this says is that this is a focus of ours because our divinity is present with us, the expanded consciousness of the white resonance. So we may not be understanding what we're seeing right now, okay? But this is what we are consciously or subconsciously, and it might be subconsciously because the energy is so covered. It's black, right? It's hidden. We don't know what, of all the colors that make up black, we don't know what color it is, okay? What will be revealed. Okay, here's a little bit of a revealing of purpley red. So what I'm explaining is that I've seen the transmutation on the chart. So when you have so much green, like here, now here it's all in the lower hertz. There's so much of it in our unconscious and subconscious areas. The Schumann resonance hertz range emulates and is the same range as the human brainwave range. And this is one reason among many others that I go over in the beginner playlist as to why I look at these spectrogram images as a reflection of human consciousness. They tend to tell a pretty interesting story. So you can see that a lot is bubbling up to the surface, and it's very matrixy right now. Could there in the background be a transmission of some sort that is also causing this pattern? Sure, why not? I believe that it's probably highly likely that occurs periodically. Why is that? Because the ELF ranges, extremely low frequency ranges of the Hertz range, which is what we have highlighted here, are used for long-range communication, because these waves can travel very, very, very far distances. Okay, so I'm acknowledging that, but I'm still going to go with the interpretation because I don't want to go into all of that, because I really just want to focus on the results right now. Because I was up last night from 1 to 3 a.m. analyzing all these charts, and I want to share my conclusions with you. So let me show you the key patterns here. Now, we have highlighted these before, and I'm going to show you the JERICHO effect here. Okay, so we have had in around 19, in this chart it's at 19.88 to 20.08, but we've had this long, thin, narrow line in frequencies in the red. So I'm viewing green as representing the human condition, red as representing the shadow side of the human personality, the dark forces that work through human beings on Earth, and just in general, the spiritual forces of darkness. But it also represents our deep experience in 3D, in the third dimension, our densest emotions, our most challenging thoughts that come at each other. So that's what this represents in my mind. Okay, the yellow, which I haven't addressed yet, being a representation of the non-physical closest to the human. Let's just call that the astral energy realm. But what I want to focus on is the red, okay, because this is what's important in the charts the last few days, in my view. And not only that, this pattern started in September. I'm going to show you where it started because I found it last night. Okay, so here's what's been happening. We have these very, very, very narrow, pointy, and small vertical movements. Okay, and then suddenly we get this drop, drop, and the drop goes down low here. Now, what often causes this is the white resonance influencing the chart when it shows up as kind of a representation of celestial forces, of our connection with the spiritual. And sure enough, we have the vertical line again in the chart. The vertical lines connecting us, as I've described on recent videos, in my view, from soul to soul, from our unconscious soul connection to our spiritual experience in the gamma brainwaves. Okay, now I want to show you the other thing that's been happening is we've been having these increases in energy, okay, and it's been pulsing throughout the charts. It's come off now. It's interesting because the charts come off a little bit here. We're going to see what happens, okay, as we go into the new moon. But we've had these strong pulses on the chart, and it's been frequent. It's been every other day, and we've gone into the 80s, I believe, now. In some of these pulses. The other thing going on here, and this is the other key element in my view, is you have had the roller coaster. Okay, so I'm just going to get the red here. Okay. But we've had the roller coaster of riding the qualities in the red. So this is a slightly off a pattern here, but in general, it's been pretty tight and then down, just dipping with the vertical line, raising up after that for an extended period, dipping down, raising up. Now we've had this roller coaster effect appear in the charts, which represent 3 days. 2 times in a day. Here you have kind of a slight third time going into another third time. So this is really interesting because the qualities here are up at 23. And that's a pretty, from mid-teens to 23, that's a pretty strongish range for red. Okay, it does and can peak higher than that, but on a consistent basis like this, for it to be consistently going to 23 is something to notice, because it's been days and days and days and days. So this is what I want to show you. Check this out. Okay, so now we're going to look back here. And I want to take you back through some of the last few days. Okay, so here's October. This is the chart for October 2nd. So 3 days before this, and you got 19.98 here to 20.3. You've got the thin line here. Okay, and you've got the dip, 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 dip. Now, what is the invitation here? Okay, and it does correlate with the vertical lines going from 0 hertz to 40 hertz. The high 30s and 40 plus being the gamma brainwaves for the human being. That's where our spiritual experiences happen and our connection with that energy happens. And because this often happens with the white resonance, when it is, in my view, an expanded sort of dimensional state for us, like something more than our normal day-to-day third dimensional experience. It's like constant invitations. So this is part of what's, in my view, backing that change energy. So let's keep looking here. Now, this was really interesting. You see these quality raises here, and I'm going to call it the roller coaster of the quality. What's been so interesting is that the roller coaster of the quality of red dips here. Okay, it's dipping with the white bars. And it's like Divinity comes through, and then it eases off, and the red quality rises. What does that mean? The signal gets clearer, and the signal being of the truth of what this energy is for us on an individual basis, number one, and then number two, out in the world, okay, on a societal basis. So it's almost like it's an invitation. And so this is part of the JERICHO effect that I'm talking about. It's like boom, 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 boom. And I'm going to explain what Bards of War said about how the JERICHO effect works. In the Bible, this is what he talked about, and I was like, oh, this is so good. In the Bible, there's a story about the siege of Jericho, okay? And so God instructs that the soldiers and the army, rather than attacking Jericho head on, okay, Jericho is surrounded by walls, okay, so a head-on attack is going to be challenging. But God instructs the army to march around Jericho over and over and over again. Boom, 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 for days and days, okay? And what happens? The vibration starts to build up, and it starts to create this resonant effect where now the walls are carrying that vibration, and there's starting to be a speeding up, right, between the vibration happening in the wall, the vibration traveling from the feet to the walls, going through the walls, then dissipating back down to the earth or out into the air, but at the same time it's getting that continued vibration. Okay, so the walls aren't having time to recover from this vibratory effect. Okay, so it's like hold on, hold on a sec. I just walked away for a sec. Okay, now check this out. Okay, this is my Tibetan bowl. Okay, so I hit the bowl once, and it echoes. This vibration is going around and around and around the ball. The material is just imperceptibly flexing with it, right? Because that's what a vibration is. It's the slight shaking, if you will, of a physical object, a frequency through a physical object. That's what vibration is, okay? So eventually this is going to stop, okay? But if I keep beating the drum, beating the bell, can you hear the secondary vibratory effects? And now even the sound, there's a tone that's starting to carry, okay? And wow. Woo! That's pretty awesome, huh? Well, at a certain level of vibration, the physical world starts to get affected. And of course, what happened in the story of Jericho is the walls fell, right? Because that's what that pattern created, that pattern of vibration being put into the ground, being put into the walls. And ostensibly in the story, it's just from the feet of the soldiers and the bodies of the soldiers, right? Jumping up and down, walking around Jericho. And I don't know, when I see it in my mind, they're not walking slow. They're like, boom, boom, boom. They're like, they're into it. And so there's more here. There's spirit. There's the courageous heart. There's the courageous heart that's beating. Number one, that's part of putting that energy into the ground with the human body. That courageous heart, okay, is bursting forth energetically. And that's the icing on the cake. Because the courageous heart, that courage, is directly from divinity. And divinity, add divinity to the mix, and miracles can happen, including the miracle of physics that brought down the walls of Jericho. What I'm saying is, I think there's something that our science, in interpreting that story, doesn't include, which is the EM fields of the heart of every individual. And then imagine being inside the walls of Jericho, okay? And you're freaking out. Those guys are, I just feel like they're huddled, okay? They're huddled in fear. When's the attack going to be? Why do they just keep, running around outside the building? I'm laughing, but it's terrible for the people inside Jericho, who get their city sacked. But this is God's will. And so in the great scheme of wholeness, every role is valid, every role is sacred, ultimately. But here they are, okay? Some of the soldiers are at the battlements, but the rest of them are cowering in fear. A heart covered over, cowering in fear, does not produce the same vibratory level as a heart emanating courage, okay, with the full force of the physical body in, full athletic display combined together. That's a powerful energy. And so you can see that the human energies inside the walls and outside the walls were dissonant energies. And in the walls crumbling, we could see that as a metaphor for breaking open the heart covered in fear. Wow. That's awesome. I didn't know I was going to talk about that when I was guided to talk about Jericho. That was incredible. Okay, so these vertical lines are also like that boom, 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 boom. Okay. It's in a different pattern, but it's still there. And the qualities, boom, 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 boom. Okay, so now let's keep going. Let's look at, that was through September 30th. Let's look at the 29th. Big green, almost completely solid, right? Bringing to light all of whatever this is. Okay, it could be emotions, it could be activities. And all this occurred after this big dark line in the chart, like a major timeline shift, a major shift in reality is how I would call that. Okay, so now we've got it again. Okay, and we've got it in the same range, 19.88 to 20.03 here. Okay, we get some little pokes up, but once again, there we are on the frequency. So again, boom, 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 boom. So do you see that what I'm trying to illustrate for you? Within the resonance, there are these patterns of vibration that are happening, and they're getting more intense. Here we go. Here's the roller coaster of the quality, okay? So let me see if I can find, I want to show you where this really started. I'm going to, this, if we went through every chart from the end of September through now, earlier in September, we would see the pattern building. So I want to show you here, like for example, this pattern of the frequency line started building by, the 9th, 10th, 11th of September, and the pattern of this dropping here, okay? But it came into a more consistent pattern later as we get towards October, the month we're in now. Here in the qualities, see here at 17, the pattern and the quality hadn't quite yet begun yet, but it was starting to build because we're going up to 17 and coming down, going up to 17 and coming down. So earlier in the month, so earlier in the month, the pattern was building. Let's see here. Let's see. Okay, so this is a few days after that, and now here we are. Okay, here we are in the frequencies, and we're having repeated fast drops. And here we are finally making it to 23 by the 12th. Okay, so this pattern, this roller coaster pattern, 23 up, down to low, 23 up, down to lows, 23 up, down to lows. This is where it started, okay? September 12th. Now, this is what I want to show you. Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Is it here? No, it was after. See, we had this hard stop at the 9th. It was after this that these patterns really started to pick up. Before the 9th, see, look, the quality of the red only till 10. The frequencies had started to come online already, okay? So we had a building. First, the frequencies started to narrow in the range and have these dips in red. The quality started to get the humps at a lower quality, 17. And then as time has gone on, these forces have kind of narrowed. So now we have the consistent rises to 23 in quality. We have the consistent narrow line around here, now that it's October, and the frequent periodic dips. I want to see if I can find the chart where it started. I may have already just shown it. Oh, here it is. It started this day, yeah, the 12th. And I wanted to show you the big spectrogram. I knew this day was important, and I do have a video on this chart in the list. And do you see what I did? It's like I had a premonition here. I'm just going to pat myself on the back for that. Look at the vibration. What is reality? What is reality? What is reality? What is reality? The towers, the towers, the towers, the towers. The gateway, the gateway, the gateway, the gateway, the portal, the portal, the portal, the portal. This is the big invitation. All these energies that are building, to me, this is the invitation. Okay? And here's the summary. Okay? But these vibratory patterns are leading us to here. Okay? In my view, what I intuited right as they began, in a very defined way that we have now, because they all started building from the end of October when we start getting the lines. Okay, first was the lines, then it was the frequencies, then it was the qualities. So I want to just highlight this here because this is so important. This is so important for changing our world. And more importantly, it's so important for changing your own world. And I like to share with you over my spiritual journey what I have come to. Okay, at first in my spiritual journey, I had the common point of view that I was here to save the world. Okay, I had to help save the world, and it took time. Maybe I'll make a separate. It would be a great topic for a separate video. What I figured out was that I was here to save myself. And by save myself, I mean recover my relationship with God, the Most High, the Creator of the universe. Recover my connection with my own soul, the source of who I am at the level of the energy of the Creator, of the source of all that is. I was here to recover myself, to redeem myself, to resurrect myself as a soul-embodied living human being, a living soul in a living human body. That is who I am. And let me emphasize this with you. You are a living soul in a human body. Through your soul, you have authority as a living human in alignment with divine law, which is elevated above all other law. And you have that authority as a living, soul-embodied human in alignment with divine law, in alignment with your highest good, to create the present that you desire. The human resonance. It's all about the vibe.